It's possible she was the first to sense it. Amber Brantly could only see her husband through this tiny window, but still, somehow, she knew Kent was going to live.
I could see his eyes had cleared, and he had the look that he was going to make it. He was going to get better.
Nurse Crystal Johnson noticed a change too in both her patients.
For me, is when they asked for a shower. That was it.
Even though Kent and Nancy felt better, doctors confined them to their rooms. They were still contagious until their blood samples tested free of the Ebola virus. Recovery became a waiting game.
As I improved and was able to get out of bed and walk around, and it just became my little home.
Walk around, but just in that room.
Yeah, I measured it one day. I think it was about 12 by 14.
Some of the nurses, still in their protective suits, played Nerf basketball with Kent to help him pass the time.
Mainly the nurses.
Yeah. He told me he beat you all but 2 times.
Oh, no.
You're playing horse against a guy who's suffering from the Ebola virus. You should win.
That's right.
Both Kent and Nancy were excited to start eating again. What were the foods? What were their cravings?
Pizza.
Pizza?
Nancy.
Dr. Brantley's first request was for a Chick-fil-A sandwich, which he immediately regretted.
Days passed, Kent and Nancy growing stronger, but their release hinged on those frequent blood tests. And then it happened. 17 days after he arrived in Atlanta, a goodbye. Kent watched his friend Nancy get discharged. The medical team, including Dr. Jay Varkey, cheered.
When she came out of the room, it was like seeing a new person. It wasn't the person that had been brought in on a stretcher. It was the person that had been seen on photos all around the world.
Kent had to stay, waiting on the second of 2 blood tests. What was the feeling like when that second test came back okay?
I was elated. I was so happy. All of a sudden, there were a lot of things to do, but the number one thing on my list was to walk out of that room and give my wife a hug.
Amber came running from the hospital cafeteria when she got the news, but the nurses had one last safety check for Kent.
We basically scrubbed a path with bleach between his shower and coming out so that he had a completely clean path to walk through so he could see his wife and touch her for the first time. And we decontaminated his wedding band and gave it to her so she could give it back to him. And I think we were all just so overwhelmed with emotion when they got to see each other for the first time.
What a bunch of softies. Kent was finally discharged. He spoke at a press conference a few hours later.
Today is a miraculous day. I'm thrilled to be alive, to be well, and to be reunited with my family.
At that press conference, at the end when you had given your statement and the doctors had spoken, you were seen hugging some of them. Were you sending a message about fear and Ebola, or was it just gratitude?
I'm glad that message about fear and Ebola went out, but that was not a scripted event. That was gratitude from me to my caregivers.
But you know that moment got a lot of attention because, look, I'll be honest with you. When I told friends of mine that I was going to come here to interview you, you know what the number one question was? You going to shake his hand? Are you worried about a stigma traveling with you?
I haven't been until now.
I shook your hand. I'll do it again. But are you worried that people, when they hear your name, they might say, wait a minute, he's the guy who had Ebola?
No, I'm not worried about that. It may happen. I've been recognized a few times out in public, but the only people who come and speak to me are the ones who grab my arm and say, I am so glad to meet you. We've been praying for you.
Kent is recuperating, his wife and 2 small children by his side. But he says it's hard not to think about Liberia, the patients he cared for and saw die, whether he should go back to continue his mission. Have you given thought to that yet?
Right now, I still have a lot of recovering to do, but I'm trying to do everything I can right now to continue helping the people in Liberia. Talking with you is an opportunity to hopefully help the people of Liberia. And will we go back? I don't know the
We
answer
really
to
don't
that.
know.
You'd be okay with it?
If Kent was, I told him long ago, I'll go anywhere you're going. We're going together.
The Ebola outbreak in West Africa is now one of the largest in history. The World Health Organization estimates 20,000 people could be infected before it's over. Just this week, a third American missionary, Dr. Rick Sacra, was diagnosed. He arrived today in Omaha for treatment.
I wish this Ebola epidemic would end. I wish that everyone who was sick could get the level of care that I received.
Questions remain about that experimental drug Kent and Nancy were given in Liberia. Dr. Bruce Ribner said it's too early to know whether it could be a magic bullet.
I would caution everybody to, yes, our 2 patients have survived, but there are 2 other patients who received this product who did not survive.
If Ebola should surface in the United States, the Centers for Disease Control says it has systems in place to contain it.
You said to me in no uncertain terms that, well, it's probably a combination of factors that God saved your life. And when you said that before, there was some reaction to that. Some people said he's saying his faith in God saved him. But is that in some way saying that all those people in Liberia who died because of this virus didn't have the same faith in God, that he didn't spare them?
That's a really difficult issue. I don't think there's anything special about me that made God save my life. And I don't think God saving the life of one person and another person dying means that there's something more important about that one person than the other.
Or stronger about their faith?
I survived, and I want to give credit to God for bringing me through that. Like you said, it was a combination of factors that treated my medical condition. It was the team in Liberia that was taking care of me. There was the experimental drug. There were the doctors and nurses at Emory and the technology and resources of Emory University Hospital and the CDC. When I see all of those things coming together, when I see how every piece of the puzzle came together to provide me with the care that I received, I see the hand of God at work, and I have to give him glory.